No amount of motivation will get me to imitate voices. I have no idea what I'm doing. As I assume this new role, my life will undoubtedly undergo some changes. When you've been in a committed relationship for a while, you may anticipate a strong tie and, perhaps, a wedding band to symbolize the depth of your love. However, in the realm of royalty, everything is magnified, ornate, and dramatic, even the jewelry. There are several advantages to being a member of the British royal family. One perk is that there are a ton of diamonds at your disposal. A huge, glittering diamond ring was formerly a regal emblem that Camilla wore on her finger, signifying her place beside King Charles. Now, though, that ring might never be found again. Apparently, King Charles is really angry right now, and he isn't trying to hide it. He allegedly expelled Camilla from the palace, according to sources close to the royal family. Furthermore, he coerced her into relinquishing her wedding band. The same ring, that is, that symbolized their devotion and love in the past. Countless challenges have befallen this royal pair. Their partnership has been put to the test time and time again, through public drama as well as private fights. The storm, however, appears to have grown too large to manage at this point. Reports from those familiar with the royal family indicate that Charles has finally snapped at his fiancée, who has been acting out of character recently. Could the king's fury have been nothing more than a passing mood? Alternatively, has there been a secret plot brewing for months within the palace walls? What gives him the right to ask Camilla to leave after all they've been through? What is going to happen to her now? That is the most crucial question. Is their love tale coming to a close? Or merely yet another turn in the bizarre realm of the British royal family? Stay tuned as we delve into this royal tragedy, learn the truth about King Charles's relationship with Camilla, and piece together the chain of events that lead to this terrible event that is rocking the monarchy to its foundation. Anticipation of a tempest. For a long time, King Charles and Queen Camilla maintained an air of placid unity as they stood shoulder to shoulder. There had been a lot of tension between them when Princess Diana was alive. When they were closer, it infuriated members of the royal family and the public. At first, Camilla was not accepted by many because they blamed her for Diana's suffering. The public's perception of Camilla gradually softened as time went on and hurts began to heal. The realm of royalty absorbed her more and more. She attended major events, stood with Charles during pivotal speeches, and grinned self-assuredly for the cameras. Some even started referring to her as the future king's faithful partner, someone who was there for him through thick and thin. Everything appeared calm at first glance. Absolutely ideal. They exemplified a royal couple, powerful, elegant, and completely composed as they carried out their responsibilities. The truth, however, was rather different behind those magnificent royal walls. Someone with knowledge of the royal couple's inner workings revealed that there was tension behind the scenes. Arguments arose, initially on a smaller scale but eventually building up to larger ones. Charles has always been deeply committed to his royal duties and has always held fast to the customs established by his mother, Queen Elizabeth. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II passed away just moments ago, according to an announcement from Buckingham Palace. Here is the statement that the palace has just released. Apparently, this afternoon at Balmoral, the Queen passed away quietly. He thought Camilla would follow suit. Things had to be done properly, according to his standards. Peaceful and considerate of traditional practices. However, Camilla had her own perspectives. Her reputation for easygoingness and casualness stemmed from her diverse upbringing. Charles was very traditional, but Camilla was more receptive to contemporary ideas. She demanded a say in everything that was decided upon, and she would occasionally make decisions independently, without consulting Charles first. Anxiety ensued. They started to alter their body language for royal occasions. Charles seems to have lost his composure. At times, he appeared exhausted or preoccupied. Even while Camilla pretended everything was well, there were times when he seemed to withdraw. Even while the media first downplayed these developments, those who paid close attention could see them. Even on seemingly insignificant matters, such as the location of intimate family dinners, their stances on public issues, and the reliability of certain employees, their disagreements became apparent. Camilla supposedly liked a tight-knit group of trusted confidants. In contrast, Charles was a firm believer in drawing from a wider pool of experts, including some who had been with the royal family for decades. A chasm began to widen between them as a result of all these minor things. Even though Charles made an effort to remain a strong king for the people, his emotional issues persisted. Actually, things became even worse. From every angle, he perceived it. Everyone from the general public to his own family members and the media. His friends and family believe he struggled mightily to appease the people as king while simultaneously repairing his crumbling palace. The added pressure was compounded by the fact that William and Kate were very popular. Because of their youth, charisma, and love, many people thought they represented the monarchy's future. Charles and Camilla's romance, on the other hand, began to feel old and strained. Things were already tough for Charles before that wordless comparison. Within the palace gates, the serene image they presented to the world started to crumble. People who knew the royal couple could tell something was wrong, despite the fact that they continued to grin for the cameras and gave the impression of being united. Their connection lacked the same spark. There was a gradual erosion of trust. Nights of silence ensued as disagreements subsided. Once a haven of tranquility, the palace began to reshape into a site of subtle conflict. Furthermore, the pressure isn't going away at Buckingham Palace. It fills a glass little by little, like water trickling into a glass, until it eventually overflows. Indeed, that is precisely what transpired. It was finally the breaking point of the long-brewing storm. What transpired after that was completely unexpected, even by their closest friends and family. The moment of explosion. As a result, Camilla is expelled. Nobody was expecting that. Even in a palace where polished smiles and golden walls conceal many secrets, this one rocked everyone to their very core. Speculation regarding the rift between Charles and Camilla had been circulating for some time. However, the majority believed that they could always overcome their differences. They were no strangers to adversity and had always triumphed as a unit, but this time seemed different. The breaking point, according to royal insiders, came suddenly and without warning. A squabble in one of the stately chambers of the palace was the starting point. What began as a little argument between the couple soon escalated into something far more significant. Reports indicate that there was a noticeable change in the energy within the palace, as well as the possibility of doors being smashed. A choice that would alter the course of events was reached in a matter of hours. No one expected King Charles to issue an order like he did because he was exhausted and extremely irritated. He insisted that Camilla vacate the palace immediately, without delay or deliberation. You didn't ask for it. It was an order from the king. Quiet instructions were given to the guards who had served them for years. Remain mute, make no public pronouncements or announcements. The crew painstakingly collected and packed everything of Camilla's clothing, personal effects, and intimate possessions. Some even claim she was unable to pack everything by herself. How quickly it all transpired. She went from being a proud queen consort to this the next. After that, the following. Quietly, she was led away from her title, and a void suddenly filled her. The royal servants found it difficult to comprehend what they were witnessing. As they had seen Charles and Camilla argue before, it was par for the course. On this occasion, though, something was off. It wasn't the vibe of a couple that needed some space. It seemed as if the long-awaited farewell had finally arrived. Hearts were pounding from the subsequent deafening silence. A major incident had occurred. The most startling aspect then arrived. Returning Camilla's wedding ring was Charles's request. There was more going on here than meets the eye. There was a lot of history in this ring. It went beyond just monetary value. It represented the path they trod side by side. A journey through highs and lows, behind-the-scenes discussions, public scrutiny, and, ultimately, a marriage that many believed would never materialize. Returning the ring was about more than just ending the conflict. It was the final step in a process that had begun decades before. The palace's occupants were taken aback. Had this taken place? Is it possible for a love story that has endured so much to suddenly fall apart? What might have triggered King Charles's reaction, many wondered. Naturally, rumors circulated. Controversy quickly spreads throughout the royal family. According to some, Charles felt profoundly deceived. Behind his back, Camilla had made decisions without consulting him first. Some thought it had more to do with William and Kate, the royal couple, or something more private. Perhaps Camilla overstepped her bounds in her pursuit of royal titles or attempted to exert her will over matters that did not belong to her. The truth, whatever it may be, remained concealed behind the palace's heavily secured doors. Photos, a statement, and a news conference were all noticeably absent. However, he informed the world of all that was necessary about Camilla's abrupt presence, or rather, her disappearance. People outside the palace also took note. The media, photographers, and royal observers started exchanging information. Camilla failed to attend crucial gatherings. Each time he made an appearance, Charles appeared anxious. Something had changed in the air near Buckingham Palace. The wisest royal advisor put it this way. A quarrel between royals wasn't all this was. There were shockwaves felt by everybody as a result of this regal explosion. It wasn't an angry outburst that led the king to urge Camilla to leave and return her wedding ring. There was more to it than that. After months, if not years, of niggling issues and pent-up anger, it felt like a definitive decision. People started to speculate what will happen now that Camilla has left the palace. Is this the last stop on her path to becoming a princess? On the other hand, is the storm still possible to pass? I knew one thing for sure. A monumental change in royal power had just taken place, and the entire globe was witness to it. What caused the decline? Mysteries, conflicts, and whispers. Then how did it all come crashing down? How did King Charles and Camilla's startling royal breakup come to pass? It appeared as though they were completely organized from the outside. They seemed like a married pair, often standing shoulder to shoulder and grinning for the cameras. Things were not as ideal as they appeared, though, within the castle walls, amid the regal speeches, and the elegant dinners. Sources close to the palace say that the fissures did not occur suddenly. Subtle power struggles, whispered secrets, and simmering animosity built up over time. There had been hints of impending problems for months, if not years. In contrast, the royal family keeps their troubles under wraps, concealed behind smiles and carefully selected remarks. Those in the know about the royal family say that Camilla's increasing influence was a major source of conflict. It was her duty as queen consort to lend her support to the king, not to usurp his authority. However, there were many who felt she began to meddle in affairs that were solely Charles's responsibility. Neither were these insignificant matters. These choices included matters pertaining to royal ceremonies, titles, personnel changes, and occasionally even royal family customs. The king was among those who found that offensive. Next up was the matter of Camilla's stance on Prince William and Princess Kate. There has been a meteoric rise in Kate's popularity throughout the years. Her graceful demeanor, warmth, and serenity have won her many admirers. According to some sources, Camilla was not very happy about that, though. The rumor mill has it that she attempted to keep her public profile low because she felt Kate stole the show. If that's the case, it may have resulted in significant issues. William and Kate have long been loved and revered by Charles. The king would have been put in an awkward position if Camilla and them had been at odds. Then there were rumors regarding Camilla's actions while no one was around. She wasn't always polite to the palace employees, according to some employees. Her management style, the way she dealt with people, and the way she issued instructions were all heavily criticized. People also took notice of her spending habits. Some felt Camilla was too laid back with royal funds and customs, in contrast to Charles, who has always been cautious. She enjoyed lavish parties, fine things, and having her way. The disparity in outlook only served to exacerbate their mounting issues. Camilla's fearlessness was an inspiration to some and a threat to others. Relatives of Charles claimed that he thought she was disobeying a great number of rules, both formal and informal, that served to unite the royal family. Even though you won't find these regulations written down anywhere, every member of the royal family is aware of them. The consequences of breaking them extend beyond the immediate family. The crown's reputation may potentially take a hit. All of these seemingly insignificant things started to add up over time. The tension was immediately apparent after a few disparaging remarks, an argument, and an impulsive decision. Charles, who was already feeling the strain of his position as king, could not turn a blind eye any longer. Not only did he have a duty to Camilla, but also to the country as a whole, his own family, and the continuation of the royal dynasty. Eventually, things reached a breaking point and started to fall apart. However, the true harm had already been done when Camilla was requested to depart and return her ring. There was more to that ring than meets the eye. A royal relationship that had taken years to form could be severed in an instant with this emblem. Now that Camilla is no longer there and new doubts have been raised about the royal family, people are beginning to reflect on the past and see that the downfall was gradual. It was gradual, steady, and replete with warning signs that were disregarded for an excessive amount of time. A marriage wasn't the only thing that ended here. This was the breaking of a bond between two people who had attempted to weather royal storms, public scrutiny, and individual hardships together. The details may remain a mystery to those beyond the royal walls, but one thing is certain, the signs were constant. How the general people and the royal family feel about it. Almost immediately upon hearing the devastating news that King Charles had expelled Camilla from the palace, the entire globe responded. It swept through the realm of royalty and beyond like a bolt of lightning. Those around were astounded by the news. Surprised, some people gasped. For some, it was merely a question of time, they merely nodded. The word got around quickly. Television hosts, internet news sites. Within minutes, it began to appear in reports across various social media platforms. The subject of Charles and Camilla was in the news constantly. Personal reactions from members of the royal family were stirred up by more than simply random commenters. The eldest son of the king, Prince William, allegedly avoided the limelight. No proclamation was issued. Direct communication did not occur. However, William reportedly supported his father's decision, according to several reliable palace sources. He might not have reveled in it, but he knew it was right. William's complex relationship with Camilla is well known. He maintained an amicable distance rather than blatantly assaulting her. Instead of warmth, there was a sense of wary respect. He is understandably culpable. While he was a child, William witnessed his mother, Princess Diana, endure the pain of loss. William was privy to her anguish as he watched the public see her weep. Thus, the old wounds never completely healed, despite the passage of time and Camilla's status as queen consort. His perspective and reaction to this royal split were both colored by his past. Rumor has it that Prince Harry, who is currently residing in the United States, was shocked but unfazed. Last year, Prince Harry and Meghan relocated to the US and resigned from their official duties. According to those close to him, he no longer felt invested in this drama. Harry has distanced himself from the palace after resigning from royal duties and publicly discussing his grief. Consequently, he remained composed in the face of the unexpected news. More royal storms won't help him after what he's been through. There were also Camilla's intimate companions. She remained silent, but they spoke up. It infuriated many. It was said that Charles had acted hastily and not given the matter enough consideration. A number of people thought she was unfairly held responsible for issues that had nothing to do with her. According to one of his acquaintances, she was his rock for a long time. In this way, he compensates her? Some even went so far as to say that Charles caved to public and familial pressure. There was a lot of drama within the royal family, and some thought he made Camilla scapegoat. Although that is a bold accusation, it has sparked conversation. No interviews or personal statements were made public by Camilla herself. On the contrary, she fled a secluded countryside estate in stealth. Photographers captured her as she entered a dark vehicle, clothed plainly and conspicuously devoid of her wedding band. It was as if the ring had gone away, speaking volumes. Something major had clearly transpired, as it was an obvious indicator. Even among members of the royal family and their inner circle, reactions were widespread. The broader populace also had plenty to say. People had different views on the matter, both in Britain and beyond. Charles had the backing of some, saying that a strong leader, like a king, must be willing to make difficult decisions. It was their belief that Charles was within his rights to intervene because Camilla had maybe exceeded a limit. On the other hand, other people felt sorry for Camilla. Even if her royal career had a bumpy start, they remembered how she had gradually acquired public acceptance. The fact that she had stuck by Charles for all those years, through good times and bad, was brought up. They felt that the finale was too abrupt and that her hard work had been for nothing. Discussions erupted on social media. Hashtags such as "Royal Breakup," "Camilla Gone," and "Charles' Decision" caused a social media frenzy on now X, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. People made memes, shared nostalgia videos, and wrote theories. There were humorous posts and more serious ones. However, there was much chatter. Podcasts and radio broadcasts also got in on the action. There were some knowledgeable royals among the guests, and there were also regular people with strong ideas. The point, nevertheless, remained same regardless of the speaker. A lot had happened. This wasn't your average celebrity rumor. An important event in the history of the royal family occurred at that time. As things started to come to a close, one fact became clear. No one could turn a blind eye to what had transpired, regardless of whether they were on the side of the king or Camilla. Not only did the split rock the castle, it captivated the entire globe. The next step is what? Princess Camilla's and the crown's future. Everyone is wondering what will happen now that Camilla is no longer a part of the royal family. There is absolutely no peace within the royal family following such a shocking and unexpected event. Those in the know say that King Charles is now hell-bent on bringing peace and order back to the palace. With the world watching his every action as king, he wants the royal family to appear powerful and united. More scandals or public drama have no place, he realizes. Perhaps now is the moment he decides to gather himself, keeping only the people closest to him who really believe in his vision. Prince William and Princess Kate are probably part of the group as well. Charles is well aware that they are responsible for ensuring the monarchy's continued existence. People admire and respect them because they are young. If Charles wants to deepen his connection with them, it's understandable. This is the most important time of my life. Royal insiders speculate that King may start delegating more duties to William, both publicly and privately. But what about Camilla now? At that point, the future becomes less certain. Royal watchers are of the opinion that Camilla may retire from public view altogether. She had the option to live in seclusion at one of her country mansions, away from prying eyes. As someone who has always valued her alone, she may be delighted by the prospect of a life free of royal responsibilities. But some people think she might not be so quiet when she leaves. Maybe she'll do an interview, write a book, or have a close friend or family member do it on her behalf. Considering no one has heard her side of the story thus far, she could feel compelled to share it with the world. However, Camilla is currently out of the spotlight. She had a far more somber and composed appearance at her most recent sighting than when she had previously smiled with the monarch at royal banquets. One striking change was that she stopped wearing her wedding ring, which conveyed a strong but subtle statement. Throughout their years of happiness and scandal, the little ring stood for love, loyalty, and their journey together. Something has changed for sure if it isn't there. Many find it most surprising how fast it all unfolded. Just a short time ago, Camilla would have looked on with pride as she stood with Charles at royal ceremonies, welcomed world leaders, and represented the monarchy. That same woman has now likely left the palace permanently. She lost all of her titles, including Queen Consort, Palace, and Ring, and became known only as Camilla. Falling from such a great height is no small feat. Many are also curious about the implications of this decision for the crown's future. Will Charles be forming a more intimate royal family to govern? Has he had enough of the turmoil and is seeking a tranquil public persona now? Sure, it's plausible. There has been mounting pressure on him since becoming king, and he may be trying to send a message that he means business by removing Camilla. He may also be trying to demonstrate that the stability of the royal family is more important than anything else. But there are still a lot of questions that have not been resolved by this whole affair. Can we expect Camilla to return? Would she ever say anything? Charles is planning to formally dissolve the marriage. Has the royal family made a statement? Not only in newsrooms and internet forums, but also in living rooms and cafes across the UK and abroad, these are the questions that are circulating. Everyone is curious about the next step. Was this the last chapter of Camilla's royal journey, or was a fresh one just beginning? That is, perhaps, the most pressing question. Unpredictability, second chances, and unexpected turns abound in royal history. The monarchy has survived numerous challenges, like as abdications and divorces. However, this circumstance seems unique in some way. In a way, it's intimate. This seems to be the last chapter. The royal family, nevertheless, is notoriously secretive. Whatever may happen within those palace walls, it is possible. Choices can be undone. We can express our regrets. Unexpected scandals may surface. Or perhaps, just perhaps, harmony can be revived. The outcome will be determined by the passage of time. Is Charles and Camilla's romance coming to an end, or is this simply the latest twist in the endless royal drama? We can see clearly now. An argument between spouses isn't the only thing going on here. A hole has opened up in the crown, and the narrative we were led to believe has changed. It proves that no family is above the law, no matter how many castles and crowns they may have. With feelings, disagreements, and sadness. An ethereal diamond ring formerly belonged to Camilla. The ring remains a memento of a love that may have crumbled under the weight of royalty, but for now it remains buried in history. The future holds more than simply national leadership for King Charles. Keeping a family together, improving his reputation, and demonstrating his ability to rule alone are all important considerations. Alternately, perhaps he will discover a solution to restore what has been damaged. When it comes to Camilla, nobody can say for sure whether she will disappear or find a way to make a comeback. The world will continue to watch, wait, and speculate regardless of what occurs next. Because no one takes a knockout punch when royalty is involved. The royal saga is far from finished, so be sure to tune in. Additionally, the following turn of events might be happening right now.